What are some of the things that you saw in film from the D-line and the linebackers for Arizona State?
Yeah, a bunch of great dudes and competitors. By no means have those dudes hung it up or called it a season with all their coaching changes and stuff going on right now. We're looking forward to the opportunity to compete with them, and we've played against some of those guys for a while now. Number 8, Merlin, he's awesome linebacker, and so we're just looking forward to this weekend.
Obviously, it wasn't Caleb's best game. I'm sure he'd even admit that. But how do you see him just kind of bounce back from that, not only in the moment, but kind of after the game, too?
Yeah, I mean, he's always confident. Like he never seemed to. Yeah, lack of confidence has never been an issue with Caleb Williams. And I guess I didn't really realize kind of what was going on in the game on Saturday till after the fact, and kind of taking a step back and looking at the stats and everything. But never at one point in the game did he seem to be fearful or lose confidence. Right? He was just a leader for us and really helped get the offense going when we were struggling. Right? Especially like on those last couple drives when we did get in the end zone. I think he was a big part of that.
You and Justin are the first and third highest graded guards on the West Coast by PFF. What goes into your relationship with him on and off the field?
Yeah, Justin's one of my best friends. One of the most fierce competitors that I know in my lifetime, at least. Love that kid with all my heart. Do anything for him. I know he'd do the same for me. But his competitive spirit just it wears off onto other people, especially when we're over there in the playpen and it's hot and we're on the turf and things get tough during our individual periods. I mean, you talk about a dude who just brings it consistently and unconditionally, like Justin Dedich. He's that dude.
During the Nealon nudge, what went into your thinking to kind of go behind and take a different route while Brett and Jonah had kind of the push on Caleb?
Yeah, so I saw Caleb get stood up, and then Brett was a little bit in front of me, right? So I knew he was just going to take the approach to just go head on, and I figured I wasn't going to be able to do a whole lot just hitting him in the back, right? So I thought I'd kind of come in from an angle and just hit the first opposite color that I saw. So that was kind of the thought. I didn't even realize, I did realize actually it was fourth down. I didn't realize where he was though in relation to the sticks. So I'm glad that we just sold out, because really I think that was one of the biggest plays of the game by far.
Next season.
You mentioned previously that Coach Henson has said there's a growth between Game 2 and Game 4. Now that you're past Game 4, did you guys see that growth?
Yeah, I mean, definitely saw improvements Game 2 to 3, and then hats off to Oregon State. I mean, they really brought it, and respect to them, and it kind of was eye-opening for us, and the revelation that we need to come back and just work on our technique, right, and just be more consistent in what we do out on the field. So I think that was kind of like the biggest takeaway from our game last weekend for the offensive line specifically.
What's really stood out to you about Eric Gentry, both going up against him in practice and then from the sideline during games?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy who just could cover space and is just so long, right? And I think because of his weight in relation to his height, like he just looks so much longer than what he really is. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He is long and he is tall and stuff. But seeing him just run out there, it's crazy how athletic he seems to be. Just, yeah, I mean, with his body, it's crazy.
When he first got here, what was your first reaction? Did you know he was a linebacker?
Yeah, so I just been giving him a hard time, and it's kind of been an ongoing joke. He didn't play against us last season, and so I always give him a hard time and say he was scared to go against me. So that's kind of our little thing that we joke about in the locker room. But yeah, no, I mean he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's made a bunch of plays for us this season already. So we're super thankful for the addition of him and just kind of that the leadership he brings along to the defensive side of the ball.
Do you get a sense for what this week is like for him when against his former team? Has he talked about it? Is it been a topic?
I mean, sure, he's probably feeling emotional, right? He hasn't, not that I know of, talked about it anything specifically, but I mean, I'm sure it has to be pretty emotional for him, right? Going against a former team and all the teammates that he had strong relationships with and coaches as well.
mentioned leadership that he's shown. What are some examples of that?
Yeah, I mean, just going out and making plays on the field, right? And I think that, like, just playing by example and just bringing along the defensive players for that perspective.
What lessons do you learn from some of those offensive struggles last week that you think you'll carry with you for the rest of the season, and how important was that with where that game fit into the schedule?
Yeah, just the old saying, like, the hay's never in the barn, right? Like, it's just something, being in the line specifically, it's just one of those positions where you have to consistently perfect your technique and kind of refine that, right? Because as soon as you lose your technique, it's crazy. You can go from being an elite player, and as soon as you quit relying on your technique and you just go out there and play street ball, as people would say, it's astonishing what happens to you as a player. It's like you've never played the game before. So I think that's something that we're just, like I said, focusing on. And like you said,
What was it about what Oregon State did that caused you guys to have some struggles with your technique?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I think they just came out and their defensive coordinator put together a really good game plan. And I think they just came out and, I mean, they played hard. I mean, like I said, hats off to them and respect to them for everything that they brought.